Hi, everybody. It's Stacy Sobel from Salon Today Conversations. And today I have Martino Cartier. And Martino, you have a salon in New Jersey, but
We
most
do.
people know you as the founder of Wigs and Wishes. Tell us a little bit about that organization and why you started it.
Sure. I originally started it for at Intercoiffure. It was supposed to just be for women with breast cancer, and all of us Intercoiffure members were going to give back. And then a woman came in who had ovarian cancer, and I'm like, well, we can't say no just because it's not breast cancer. So that's when Marianne
Right.
and friends became friends were by your side. And throughout this journey, then we started meeting children, that were being denied wigs and wishes from other big nonprofits due to red tape. So the first one everybody knows was Kiki when she met Justin Bieber. And since then, she passed 7 days later. And since then, we've granted wishes for thousands of kids and over 1 million wigs donated to women across the country, and now international as well. So it's pretty amazing.
Such an incredible effort and thing that you're doing. And recently you had a connection to a really strong story that touched a lot of hearts. You were involved with a young girl, 7-year-old girl, Mackenzie Rose, and tell us how you learned about her.
So the real story is we, during the COVID, bought this 8-acre property and we
Right.
built a petting zoo for the kids with cancer so that we had our own infrastructure where we could have pool parties for the kids, because we were like in the middle of like DuPont Children's Hospital, Philadelphia, St. Chris in Philadelphia. So we're like in the middle of all these children's hospitals. So we have a train on the property, whatever. So when we went to get our approvals from the town, the mob scene came out, saying Martino, say no to Martino. It was hysterical. It was actually painful, and it went on for hours. And one of the women who was there saying no, why we shouldn't be allowed to have the petting zoo and the farm, she reached out months later and apologized and said that her dear friend's daughter is Mackenzie Rose, and would you help? And I said, of course. So there's a story of forgiveness too along the way, in this story.
Wow.
So I texted Mackenzie Rose's mom, and I had said to her, I heard she's 7 and she has strawberry blonde hair down to her waist. I said, and I'm a little nervous on how we're going to pull this off. I said, so can you send me pictures of her? And she said, sure, it doesn't have to be to her waist. She's like full of life and spunky and, up for change. She's just not wanting to shave her head. I'm thinking this is going to be so sad, because when you get a stem cell transplant, you get chemo that's so strong, you can't leave the hospital for 45 days.
Right.
And normally the hair doesn't start to fall out till 14 days into your journey. But with a stem cell, it could be the same day. So she sends me a picture of this cutest girl ever. And I have this wig that's like a beachy wave bob. And I'm like, I know she's going to love this in strawberry blonde. So I go get it, take a picture, send it to the mom. The mom's like, she loves it. I'm like, all right, listen. Since I can't be there to shave her head because no one's allowed in the hospital when she gets this procedure, so why don't you bring her to the salon? They live about an hour away. I said, I want to measure her head, make sure this is going to fit. And then I'll just do the Martino thing. I'll make her laugh and I'll make her be excited the best I can for this wig. And then if you saw on Facebook when I posted it, I posted a screenshot of what the mom wrote to me about the car ride home, how Mackenzie was like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. So she went from like being afraid to get the wig to be excited to get the wig. And I was like, thank God, like job well done. So the day comes for her treatment. And I had said to the mom, when the hair starts to fall out, we'll FaceTime and I'll walk you through the process of shaving her head, putting the wig on. I'll play some crazy music in the background, and I'll just, again, be goofy Martino and make this the best we can. So it was like around 4-ish, I get a text message from the mom and I'm like, geez, already? And then I open the text message and it was just like, she's not going to need the wig. She had an adverse reaction to the chemotherapy and she basically bled out on the table. And they tried everything they could. It was horrible. They tried everything they could to relieve the pressure in her brain and they just couldn't do it. So basically she told me that Mackenzie Rose was brain dead and that she wanted to find a home for her kidney so that her daughter could live on it. I'm still processing that the girl died. I'm like, we're going from here to talking about donating. I'm like, how is the mom having the strength of like David and Goliath right now? It's like crazy strength, So let's go back a week. Week before, we have our annual meeting with our reps and senior reps from Goldwell, who sponsor Wigs and Wishes, and they come to the gala every year. And Joe from Deepa Squaw, who is a big fan and friend, comes every year, and they donate every year. So I've known them for a very, 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 very long time, the Deepa Squaw and Goldwell. So, but I never go to the meetings because it's like watching paint dry. Like, I don't care about how many points we have, blah, blah, blah. Like, you know, and the salon's busy. So they're having this meeting, and I had a little break in the day. So I thought, let me just sit down in this meeting for a little bit that my girlfriend's running. And I'm not paying attention. I'm looking at Facebook, I'm checking my email, and all of a sudden I hear Anthony say, I've needed a kidney for, I forget, it was 2 or 3 years. I've been on the list, and I'm going to start my dialysis this Monday. And I went, what? You need a kidney? I said, how come I don't know this? Like, why wouldn't you tell me? He's, I don't know. And I'm like, you know, if you told me, like, I'll do whatever I can. You can't be quiet if you need a kidney. You need to be loud if you need a kidney, you know? So I just kept asking him a million questions. I was just so intrigued. This young guy needs a kidney. So anyway, when Mackenzie Rose's mother texted me that, the first thing I thought of was Anthony. Now, to be a match for a kidney when you're not related, they say is like you have a better chance of winning the Mega Million lottery, which is why he had been on the list for so long and couldn't get a kidney. So I text back Mackenzie's mom, something to the effect of, you know, I'm devastated. I'm so sorry. We'll cry together later. What type blood is Mackenzie? So she says A positive. So I call Anthony to find out what blood type he is, and I only have his work number. So then I called Joe Mastilia from Deepa Squaw. He only has his work number. Then I call Rhonda, my sales rep, only has his work number. So now we only have 2 hours. This is 4 o'clock, 4-ish, 6:30. If we don't find a home for the kidney, that's it. And mom wants Mackenzie Rose to live on. So now it's a Saturday. Can't get a hold of Anthony. So now we're calling like the heads of Goldwell, which have his regular number. So now I have, at this point, like 6 or 7 people trying to get a hold of Anthony. And everybody I'm texting, it's 911, 911. Again, no clue that this kidney's going to be a match. I'm just going out on faith right now. So we finally get a hold of Anthony, and
I
he's
wouldn't
like,
even think it was possible for a young girl to donate to a grown man, but
well, the doctors didn't either. And they were actually
yeah.
getting pissed off at me for being so tenacious, right? So I finally get a hold of Anthony, and I'm like, what's your blood type? You know, freaking out. And he's like, A positive. Well, now I am just, in my heart of hearts, I knew this kidney was a match. It was meant to be that he told me this a week ago. It wasn't meant to be that Mackenzie Rose lost her life. But if I can grant the mother's last wish with this daughter and make it happen, I just knew this whole thing was like divine appointment. So Anthony says he's A positive. I said, where are you? And pack a bag and head to Penn. And he's like, Martino, I appreciate you trying. He's like, but you don't understand how this works. There's all these factors, and there's this and there's that. I said, do you listen to me? Pack a bag. So he says, okay. So I call Mackenzie Rose's mom, and I'm like, Anthony's same blood type, my friend who needs a kidney and starts dialysis in 2 days for the first time, right? In 2 days. So she said, get me his donor ID number, date of birth, blah, blah, blah. So I get it. And the doctors are like, this is a Saturday. Who's down the shore? Who's here? Who's there? The chances of this, again, they said, is like winning the Mega Million. Like, this is not going to work. We appreciate you trying. So I spent an hour.
Surgeon in on a Saturday and everything else. So,
and
yeah.
Nobody, they said it. And the guy said to me, in 35 years of doing this, I'm telling you, it's not going to work. I've never seen it work. But I don't stop. I'm calling Gift of Life. I'm calling University of Penn, and I'm calling board members because, thank God, because of Wigs and Wishes, I have a lot of the board members from these hospitals in my phone. So I'm blowing everybody up on this Saturday. To make a long story short, it's like 5:42, and they finally decide to do the markers and all this stuff they have to do. And to their surprise, it was not just a match, but it was a perfect match. I got chills. It was a perfect match, as if they were brother and sister. And, you know, I'll never forget that moment. I was in a restaurant and I just jumped up, ran outside, and I was like screaming, like, yes, yes, I don't believe it, you know? So I called Anthony and I'm like, hope you packed the bag because you're going to get a kidney. So they flew the kidney from DuPont, New Morris Children's Hospital in Delaware to University of Penn. I called Anthony 5 o'clock in the morning on Sunday. see how he was doing. They were prepping him and everything. 7:02, he texted me, says, I'm going in. And he said, thank you. I said, don't thank me, thank Jesus, and pray before you go under. No. And then about 6 hours later, that video that I posted of Anthony was sent to me and to Mackenzie Rose's mother. And the whole time, I'm texting Mackenzie's mom, how are you? She's texting me, how's Anthony? Have the doctors given updates? And I talk to Mackenzie Rose's mom every single day. And, you know, so now Anthony's doing great. He's home recovering, and no signs of rejection or anything like that. And the one doctor called me, surgeon, and he said, I have been an atheist my whole life, and you have me questioning my faith because
Wow.
you just said it was impossible. And I said, nothing's impossible.
That's such an amazing story. And, you know, I can't believe how strong Mackenzie's family is for making,
Yeah.
you have to make those decisions quickly, and it's
That
so hard. Even when you know the person's wishes, because they ask you lots of questions, and maybe because she was already in the hospital, they knew the answers. But I went through this with my dad, and it's hard to make. You want to make that decision, but you don't, you know, they quiz you for like an hour.
and here's the thing, like, you have to understand, they went in to do a life-saving treatment.
Right. So
They
her mindset went from this to that.
like that, like just
that.
within seconds, you know. And you know, and then I remember mom texted me, you know, at 6 o'clock, they said goodbye to her, and then they left. And you know, they had known that she had been brain dead since 4-ish, right? So for 2 hours, their focus was on how do we let her continue to live in someone else. So at Wigs and Wishes, we had a board meeting, and we're going to start a Mackenzie Gift of Life Award. So we're going to have Paul Abdul give this gift, this award, to someone that we find throughout the year that we'll honor at our gala that we have every year. Someone that uses their time, talent, and treasure, you know, to the best of their ability, that makes a difference and allows us to change lives more. So I had said, I was talking to Paula about it, and I said, we should get, because we're moving our salon to the farm. We start construction in like 60 days. So we'll have the salon here, the charity here, the petting zoo here, and we live here. So it's like one gigantic, whatever, life-changing compound. So I said, we're going to put a big fountain out front, and, you know, like, not retention pond, you know, those big ponds with the fountains, whatever.
Right.
I said, we should get a bronze sculpture of you and I and Mackenzie, and like holding hands and put wings on or whatever. So I had made a call to this bronze company, and I'm like, what would the cost be for a life-size 7-year-old girl bronze sculpture, customized? I'll get you pictures, whatever. And they were like, you know, 18 to 25,000, depending on details. I'm like, what the hell's a 6-foot man going to be if a little girl's that was, right? So I made a couple calls, and here I found this guy in New York. And when I told him the story, I sent him the news article, the video from Fox and the ABC. And he called me, he said, I want to donate the statue. So he's making a bronze sculpture of me, Paul Abdul, and Mackenzie to put in the middle of this fountain. So, because the big thing with Mackenzie's mom is she wants Mackenzie Rose never to be forgotten, which is every parent that loses a child within our charity. That's what they say. Like Kiki, you know, that Kiki never wanted to be forgotten. She was 11. That's one of the last things she told me. You know, an 11-year-old said that. So our friends at OPI named nail polish Kiki's Dream or Kiki's Wish. I can't remember, you know, many years ago. So we do our best to keep these kids, their memory alive, you know. But it's painful. It's hard, you know, because you get Mackenzie, not so much because I only met her the one time, but I knew I had an impact on her because of what mom sent me that she said, you know. But some of these kids you walk with for like a year or two, and then you lose them, and it's like you lose a piece of yourself with them, you know.
Devastating. So
But
this story obviously has gotten a lot of attention in the media. Who has reached out to you and interviewed you about it?
well, Good Morning America reached out, but we were in Italy. The day that I made that interview with the parents, I was leaving for Italy at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and I was doing the interviews at 9:30, an hour away. So it was like stop, drop, and roll, you know. But as far as press, it was just Fox and ABC that I spoke with directly, like on camera, you know. But the story's been syndicated, and you know, everybody knows the story. People are, God forbid me that I chuckle, but like people are calling the salon saying that they have a mom who needs a liver, or like I'm not like an organ transplant
Transplant
specialist.
center, yeah.
You know, God just put me in the right place with the right people at the right time. And, you know, I just knew in my gut, I'm telling you, I knew the minute before I even knew her blood type, I knew. And even my family and some friends were like, you need to calm down, like you're obsessing. And I'm like, because we only have a couple hours. And they didn't
Yeah.
say it's impossible. They just said there's no chance. And for me, it didn't matter what they said. It
That
fell
was
on
a
deaf.
challenge. That was a
Yeah,
challenge for you. Yeah.
yeah, it just fell on deaf ears. And look, it all worked out, you know, crazy.
When we spoke earlier, you were talking about that by doing some of these national media outlets, you're hoping that people better understand the powerful connection a stylist has with the clients
100%.
and the community. And I think this story tells that beautifully. Um,
Well, for sure, because, you know, we started this because when I was at Intercoiffure, I was on the cutting council, and I remember asking like 900 of the best salon owners in the world, how many of you right now, if one of your 20-year clients that you know everything about her, she knows everything about you, gets diagnosed with cancer and tells you that their hair is going to fall out, how many of you would know how and where and what to do as far as getting your hair replacement? 3 hands went up, 3. And that's when I knew there was a need.
there's
And
an yeah.
yeah, and like I said, and since then, salons all across the world through Wigs and Wishes, over 1 million wigs, you know. And it's women will always say to me, the hardest part of my journey was losing my hair. I'm not kidding you. I'm talking, I don't care if they have stage 1 and it's just precautionary chemo and they know they're going to live and they're still going to lose their hair, or if it's pancreatic or ovarian and it's terminal, they still, the worst part of their journey to them is their hair. So when the vice president of Intercoiffure had cancer, you know, her wig looked like a wig. And I had said to her son and to her husband, I said, how come with all of the connections we have, and I didn't know much about wigs then, how come you couldn't have gotten a wig that didn't look like a wig? And I remember John said to me, we paid $5,000 for that wig. And I just said, what does the average woman do? And then I learned the sauce. The sauce is that you need to have lace front. You need to have hand tie. You need to not put a wig cap on underneath. You know, I did a wig yesterday. I did a lot of wigs yesterday, but we were so busy. I hardly took any pictures. And I usually take pictures of whoever isn't so emotional that I can take a picture. But these women come in like crying and just destroyed emotionally, mentally, and every other adjective that you could think of. And then when they see themselves with the wig, the tears become tears of joy. Now, I don't know how well you can see this part or not.
Beautiful.
See how you see the skin through the part?
Yeah.
Like so, and that wig, believe it or not, would retail for around $450 to $700. Through our connections, we get the wigs between $90 and $119. So these women don't know that that's the wig that they need to be able to put your glasses on your head and look like the hair is growing right out of your scalp. Like I always lift up the hairline and I go, if you said ouch right now, somebody would think I'm pulling your hair. And they all come in like this and they all leave like that. Arms up, screaming, empowered, you know. So hair you wear has been the biggest blessing in our life through Wigs and Wishes. I mean, they have just done everything they can to make sure every woman looks cancer-free for free through our program. And you know, you can spend $5,000, you can spend $10,000 on a human hair wig and it's going to look like a wig.
Right.
You know, people don't
We've
realize.
done a lot with our Hair Plus education on this, and you know, women that are having cancer and in that situation, they just want to look like themselves. They just want to look normal. They don't want people to point them out on the street and say, you know, something's wrong.
And if that's what I tell them, if you have a bad wig, I mean, you might as well carry a sign that says I have cancer, or wear that turban. I hate those turbans because I feel like, you know, it's a stigmatism. It's like, you know, you just walk, like, it's like the kids that lose their hair. A big reason why we decided to build the petting zoo and all this is because when I have 5, 6, 10 kids here that are all bald, you don't have other kids looking at them saying, Mommy, why are they bald? And believe it or not, sometimes I guess unconsciously, adults even like will look at the kids like, I wonder what's wrong with that kid. It's a bad, bad, bad place to be for them. So just making these women look like they have better hair than they've ever had in their life. You know, that's the best part, because then they start laughing like, I like this better than my own hair. And, you know, they're tucking it behind their ears. And I'm like, you know, it's just, it's a great feeling. It's a great,
It's a beautiful, beautiful gift you're giving people.
If you told me this was going to be my story when I was in high school, I would have thought you were nuts. But
so people that want to support this effort and get involved, where do they go? How do they learn more?
Sure. You can go to Wigs and all spelled out A&D wishes.org. There's plenty of ways to get involved. You can become a salon. And if you become a salon, all that means is you make a commitment to give back. That if a woman finds you on our map, that you're going to be committed to treat her like a queen, shave her head, and put the wig on her that will help you get, right? So basically what happens is salons all across the country raise money. Then they send the money to Wigs and Wishes. So if a client writes a check for $100, they get a tax deduction because we're a 501c3. If the salon has a fundraiser and the salon sends the money, they get the write-off. And then we have a bank account for each salon. So if the salon says, it sends an email to my girlfriend, who's our chief compassionate officer. So they send it to Gianna at wigsandwishes.org. She sends them back a link and they can pick out the wig, the color, and then we directly send it right to the salon. It's just an amazing infrastructure. I mean, Gianna responds to 50 to 100 emails a day.
Wow.
Wig request. Yeah. And then people come from all over, because a lot of people want to come to our headquarters, or they want me to do their wig themselves. And people will drive 4 and 5 hours to come. And I do wigs every day. It's wild.
That's just incredible.
Yeah. And then,
But
of course,
it's a wonderful effort for salons to get involved in too.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, when you're a salon that is a part of Wigs and Wishes, your salon will grow. And not saying that's why you should join, but when people in your community know that you're making women look cancer-free for free, and then that mom starts telling everybody, this is the salon that did this for me through this program, people want to support that salon. And then that mom's going to tell people, and it's just a circle that keeps on giving and keeps on giving and keeps on giving.
But you never thought it would get to the level where you would be giving organs and making that match.
Yeah, or having, you know, Paula Abdul as our co-host for the last 10 years. And now Andre Buccelli's making a video to open up the night this year. And, you know, it's just crazy. It's crazy. Well,
Martino, you really touched our hearts. And as you continue to do year after year, and I want to thank you for sharing this story. It's so powerful.
It's my pleasure. And thanks for supporting it from day one.
And our hearts and love go out to Mackenzie's family.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.